Gutermuth, and I'm here sitting with
Mia Raven
of Montgomery Area Reproductive Justice Coalition and Powerhouse. First of all, please tell us who you are and give us some insight on your organization and the work that you do.
Okay, my name is Mia Raven. I'm a native of Montgomery, Alabama. We started the Powerhouse to assist women who go to the clinic next door. Sometimes they're yelled at by protesters, they have just vile things yelled at them, and we act as a refuge and a barrier between them and the protesters.
What are women's rights? There's a great deal of talk and speculation and assumptions, but can you legally clarify this for us?
Women's rights there's so many of them. We have equal pay for equal work. Reproductive rights. Oh my goodness, I could sit here for hours and talk about that, but most of what we do here at Powerhouse and with Montgomery Area Reproductive Justice Coalition, say that really fast, is we make sure the patients at the clinic next door get into the facility without being yelled at, without being told that they're going to hell, without being accosted. And we also allow small children to come over here when they can't go into the clinic.
How can we as women best empower ourselves on reproductive rights?
You have to get out and vote. You have to know the issues. You have to put your politicians' feet to the fire and say, we're not going to put up with this anymore. These are our rights. They're guaranteed by the Supreme Court of the United States as far as reproductive rights go. And we're working on getting more solidification with the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, where women are paid exactly the same as men.
One of the great services you provide to low-income women who are forced to travel to receive an abortion is that you offer a place to stay overnight before their procedure. Can you tell us, as of this taping, how many clinics there are in Alabama that currently provide abortion and the legislative problems that you face in continuing that service?
There are 5 clinics in Alabama. 3 of them are independent clinics, meaning that we are not related to Planned Parenthood. In the past 5 years, we have had an onslaught of anti-choice, anti-women regulations. The clinic next door was forced to, how can I put this nicely, comply with TRAP laws, which is targeted regulation of abortion providers. The clinic owner was forced to put in a $40,000 closet. All of it is made to make the cost so prohibitive and make it so difficult for the clinic owners that they give up and they shut down. Well, we don't give up. We keep going. Alabama also requires a woman to have a 48-hour waiting period, along with state-mandated speech that is not scientifically correct. So when a woman comes to the clinic next door, which is Reproductive Health Services, they come for their first time for their sonogram and their sonogram and their ultrasound. They get their blood type, they have to fill out the paperwork, and they are sent home. I'm going to grab this off camera real quick. With what I consider is state-mandated speech. This comes from the state of Alabama. It does have some good information in there, but a lot of it is fake things. The thing like abortion causes breast cancer, when that has been scientifically proven that that's not true. Abortion will make you infertile for the rest of your life, which is not true. Abortion causes post-traumatic stress disorder, which is also not true in 99.9% of abortions. Of course, you have people who are sometimes forced, or they're really on the fence about it and somebody has talked them into it. And this is also another book that the state of Alabama makes clinics give out, saying that you can sue the father of your child for child support. You should consider adoption. It has a lot of resources, and like I said, some of them are good, but most of them are shaming.
What kind of resources?
For adoption, stuff like that, you know, how you can apply for SNAP or TANF, you know, WIC, places like that. And it also has these different places where you can go to the health departments. My main concern about this book is they mention crisis pregnancy centers. Crisis pregnancy centers are not licensed by the state of Alabama. They do not have registered nurses or LPNs or CNAs on duty. They do not have licensed ultrasound techs on duty. They will lie to you. They will tell you that you are too far along to have your abortion, and they will never, ever, ever mention the word abortion to you. It's all a pack of lies.
And how much does it cost to get an abortion?
That depends on the clinic. Here next door, we only do abortions up to 12 weeks, and it's $550. You pay your first $100 when you go to get your ultrasound and get your blood work to make sure that you're not Rh negative, which will cause your blood not to clot in the proper manner. But in other parts of the state, I can't speak to how much they charge, but it does go up from there, because we only go to 12 weeks and the other clinics in the state go to 15 and 20 weeks, which is the cutoff in Alabama. You can only get an abortion up to 20 weeks in Alabama, even though the point of availability put forth in Roe versus Wade is 24 to 26 weeks.
And how much of that money goes back to the clinic itself?
All that money goes to the clinic because, unfortunately, due to the amount of clinic violence that we have experienced in the whole state of Alabama, the first 2 abortion doctors killed worked in Alabama. The bombing of the Birmingham clinic happened in the 90s from Eric Robert Rudolph. He killed an off-duty police officer and severely maimed a nurse. And we're very targeted here.
And speaking of targets, there's specific targets, a religious individual that hangs around here and harasses you and your clients. Yes. Can you speak on that?
We have a protester that is here 5 days a week. He is paid $2,200 a month to stand outside the clinic and harass women from 8 o'clock in the morning until around 11:30 or noon, until procedure day, when he arrives at 4 o'clock in the morning, because the office is open at 5, and he stays here then until he sees our doctor leave. And when he sees our doctor leave, he actually follows the doctor around the street and tries to take pictures of him and intimidate him and harass him, and it's all really pretty gross.
And he harasses the clients. What safeguards have you put in place for the clients?
We have a stepping stone sidewalk into our front lawn, so the harassers can't reach out and grab people. And we also use big giant umbrellas, like the golf umbrellas that are they're really huge. The bigger the better. We use those to shield the patients from the protesters. The protesters will take their video, they will take their picture. If somehow they know their name or they know who they are, they will call them out by name. It's really disgusting.
Which organizations are they with?
Our main protester is a deacon at Morning View Baptist Church, and he solicits his donations of $2,200 a month from the North American Missionary Board.
And what legal actions have you taken against him?
There's not a lot we can do unless he trespasses on clinic property, or if he commits a FACE Act violation, which is a federal law that was signed into law by Bill Clinton back in the 90s when abortion clinic violence was really, really high. And it is called the FACE Act, which is the Federal Access Clinic Entrances Protection Act. You cannot block the driveway. You can't make specific threats to people. There's a whole list of things that you can get in trouble with for the FACE Act violations. So, I mean, he has every right to free speech, as you and I have the right to free speech. He just goes about it in a very disgusting manner.
And over the past few months, there has been an intense push by the GOP nationwide, including by our Governor, Robert Bentley, and our congressmen and women, to completely deprive a woman of her right to choose. On a national level, even President Obama and his administration have openly slammed and opposed Alabama's defunding of Planned Parenthood. And it was just recently announced that Texas is planning to defund as well. How have these policies affected your organization in the past few months? And what's being done to challenge this?
We are not a Planned Parenthood clinic. We are an independent clinic, but since there's only 5 of us in Alabama and 2 of them are Planned Parenthood clinics, we do stand with Planned Parenthood. I was in court today that the state argued Bentley's being okay with removing Planned Parenthood from the Medicaid rolls. And it's completely 110% illegal for him to do so without cause. If Planned Parenthood were doing just terrible, terrible things, it would be one thing. But the state of Alabama does not allow tissue donation whatsoever, because the way that the Alabama Department of Public Health makes tissue disposal in their rules, it renders it useless for research. So I have heard and I have seen other clinics going, especially Planned Parenthoods, going through these type of things, and it's just really, really horrible. But if you don't like having polio, you can thank fetal tissue research for that not happening. Stem cell research is a wonderful thing. And all of that comes from fetal tissue donation.
And how can people volunteer to help continue the work that you do?
You can feel free to email me. Our email address is Montgomery, Montgomery, area, AREA, Repro, REPRO, Justice, I know it's long, JUSTIC, @gmail.com. And if you're interested in coming to escort with us, we would love to have you. Just that smiling face, that kind face, to be able to help women, rape victims, women of incest victims, have a nice face that's not constantly yelling that they're going to hell and that the murder blood is on their hands. It's like no other feeling in the world. It really makes a huge difference for the patients.
Absolutely. Besides abortions, can you tell us what other services that you offer?
In the Powerhouse, we are hoping to expand our space to LGBT organizations, so they will have a safe place. I can't even talk today. Safe place to meet in Montgomery. You know, anybody can go to Panera Bread or a restaurant, but some of these topics are really frowned upon, and we offer a safe place for those groups to come with no judgments whatsoever.
How can those of us who do not live in Montgomery, Alabama, help out your organization?
Financially is always the best. Getting the word out is great. We are on Facebook. You can look us up. We are under facebook.com/PowerhouseMGM. We usually run tilt campaigns. We have raffles, all that. We are a totally 100% volunteer organization. Nobody pays us, not Roy Moore, not anybody. So if you would like to help, find us on Facebook. Montgomery Area Reproductive Justice Coalition is also on Facebook, and we would love to have the support. Reproductive rights are very much in danger in Alabama because of our current Alabama Supreme Court. Not to be confused with the U.S. Supreme Court, but our current Alabama Supreme Court legislation is pretty harsh. And since there's only 5 of us left in the whole state, we could use all the help we can get.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the zine.